Right, so 54 kilogram down. So of course I'm here with Rachel, and Rachel's been my client now for actually 21 months.
Yeah.
And she is now down 54, keep on saying 56, 54 kg.
It's going to be 56 in a minute.
56 very soon.
Now.
But well, yeah, like I said, just shy of 9 stone down now. So
yeah.
let's dive into it. So let's go back to the beginning in a sense.
The old me.
The old you, that's probably the best way to start. So like I said, we had our first ever chat and our first ever call. I reached out to you now about 21 months ago in July of 2023, if I remember right in saying. So I want you to talk me through a little bit about, like, at that period of time, you know, let's talk about how you feel. Let's talk, obviously I know the reason behind, and I know about this, but people who are watching this don't know this, right? So let's go into what had you tried? Let's go into that first. What had you tried before? Start with myself. But basically, that's it. Let's go over it.
I think so. From when I was younger, I was always tall at school, and I had lots of smaller friends. They were all small and tiny, and the height I was in the back row with all the boys, and even just trying to dress there back then. So I started. What was it called years ago? There was a diet, like one of these celebrity diet things. Inch loss or something like that I did. I was about 16, but that is in where it all started, as in the trying to lose weight, then putting it back on, then putting a bit more back on. And I have done Slimming World several times. I've done Weight Watchers, great results. But the minute that you start to stop and fall off, you're just back to square one again, but plus an extra stone or another stone.
Yeah.
So that is where I'd done Herbalife, I'd even sold it for them, and just the minute you stop, it all starts. There's no reverse process at all. I didn't know there was a reverse process or that type of thing. So I'd done everything. I'd even gone through the dietitians, I'd gone through the doctors, weight loss invitation, you know, where you go to the gym, and I cleverly managed to break my leg twice while I was on that.
Wow.
Not in the gym, falling out the porch, probably. And then obviously the waiter I'm just snapping bones that the waiter was falling on. So I broke my ankle twice. So that was so that sort of put pay to that. So I wasn't going. And in the end, I was so determined. I said, I'll come and I'll just do my arms. I'll just leave the boot on and I'll still go. I was determined, but nothing was happening. I got very frustrated when I went back to the doctors, and they were like, we'll send you back to the dietitians. And the dietitians were, bless them, this is a plate, this is protein, and I just felt really patronised. I'd done Zoom courses, you know, with them, and I just didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. I'd lose a little bit, and then there was just no motivation, there was no accountability. I needed someone to sort of stick with me, which is what you promised me you'd do, and you have done the whole time. But I was 25 stone. I'm not frightened to say it. I was 25 stone. A lot of people always tell me that I carried my weight very well, but I've always been bottom heavy, which I now know is a condition called lipedema. So when you reached out to me, I was like, he's not going to know about fibromyalgia, he's not going to know about lipedema, he's not going to know about these medical things that I've got. He's just going to be hell-bent on, let's go gym, calorie deficit, and that's it. And then I can remember jumping on that first Zoom call, and I was like, where are you from? And you told me where you're from, and I went, that's where I'm from. I was like, it felt really like instantly homely, if you know what I mean. So that like put me at my ease, and I think we just hit it off straight away. Definitely, so that was it. I mentioned the conditions that I had, and you were like, yeah, that's fine, I know about them. I was like, how can you know about them? Yeah. You know, how would you know about them? You were like, I've worked with people with that, and I know about it. It's all right, it's fine. We can work around it. We can, you know, it's fine. And it has been fine. It's been more than fine. It's been, so the kids that I've got 5 children. I've got 4 older children, and then I had another one when I was 42, and she's nearly 10. So, I've obviously had lots of pregnancies and gained weight after them and whatnot, and it's just been all that fluctuating all of the time. Over the period of time, And you know, like I said, obviously for people watching, obviously I know this, and it always makes me quite emotional actually when I talk about this, because obviously I know that it's your biggest why, and it was the biggest why of why you started in the first place. But very, very similar to chats that I have with every mum that I work with, every dad that I work with. Talk about the why behind
you actually wanted to start, there was something that was sort of lit a moment that, you know, I know about that, but let's talk about maybe that experience that made you really go, you know, something needs to really change here.
Yeah, so I only live about 4 doors away from the school. It literally is a 2-minute walk, genuinely, on the flat. No, nothing, no hills or anything. And taking my little girl to school, I was very, very aware that I was an older mum in the school anyway. And it was, when I was walking to school, I was finding that when I got there, I was really out of breath. So I was very aware that I sounded like I was panting when I got there. And so, like, if any of the mums said hello or anything, I could feel myself. And I was trying to, like, keep myself away from other parents just so that they couldn't hear the breathlessness. And I automatically, like I was telling you before, about the elephant in the room was my size. And so I used to always mention the elephant in the room, in my room, was the size. So I'd say, oh, size of me, I'm like a house. And I would always, but once it was out there, I just sort of felt more comfortable with the fact that you knew that I know that I'm overweight. So let's not talk about it. You don't have to judge me for it. But I found myself steering away from parents so that they couldn't hear that I was out of breath. But, you know, obviously, I was saying before as well, I chat more when I'm anxious. So I am quite a chatty person. So people will talk to me, and people know me in the village anyway. So you're having that conversation, and I was just so conscious of this breathlessness, and I thought I used to get anyone and everyone to try and pick her up from school. My older kids, and they'd say, she's your child, not mine. I didn't want another child. I'd be like, please just go. And I'd say, it's only 2 minutes. And they'd say, it's only 2 minutes for you. And I'd say, I know, but please, go on. You know, I'd be begging people to, you know, and I was wishing her older so she could walk home on her own, genuinely. Yeah. Now, I love picking her up because it's like I get more steps in. It's like I could crack off a couple of steps. So that was the why, because it got to that point also. My older daughter was worried about my health. She just kept on saying, you know, something's going to happen before long, you know, you need to do something. I'd say, I know I need to do something, but again, it was like, what do I do? I've tried everything, and I knew that this was going to be the last roll of the dice, because I can't go, I am terrified of being anything over 25 stone. I can't let this process go that far back, that I end up there, because I'll end up bigger again, and I just can't. The visions that I have of me as an old lady with bandages wrapped around me swollen legs because they're that big, and that it's a genuine fear. It's not, but you know, it was there. So yeah, that's the why. That's
it, and obviously I know for yourself, like I knew this when I first started coaching you, I knew that this was the last roll of the dice. Yeah. And I think when as a coach as well, once you know that you are someone's last roll of the dice, I always say this to people, I will make sure that I guarantee that you will succeed no matter what, but you have to work with me, and that's something you've certainly done, especially over the last 21 months as well. And it's like, it's not been easy, and I also know this firsthand as well. Like obviously, everyone gets life situations, everyone gets thrown curveballs, right? And the one thing I hear all the time is, I can't commit to this because I'm stressed. I can't commit to this because life's busy. Can't commit to this because of this reason. I understand it, but I can say this to you right now, and it can make me quite emotional. I can say this because I know what you've been through over the last sort of 21 months as well. Yourself, family life, etc. But how you've come through the other side of that, and still, as I said, 54 kg, just shy of 9 stone. You are actually the prime example of why your why will get you through where you want to be. Do you know what I mean? Like your why behind that. And as you said there, the kids are scared. The kids are scared that their mum is going to potentially go the opposite way. But I've also seen how, this may make it emotional, but how proud your kids are and your family are of you as well. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously I see them supporting you. I see them supporting. So it's such a good thing to be able to see that, but also see how you taking that first step, which is fucking hard. It's not easy. I knew that at the time, and I know that every single time you've reinvested in yourself over the last 21 months, I know that's been difficult, but you've not just changed your life, you've changed your family's life as well. So like obviously people know, like 9 stone is
it's a person. Somebody said that to me in the shop the other day. They said, I'm that weight, you've lost me. I was
literally,
like, have I?
and like where your starting point, if you don't mind me saying as well, obviously we started at 158 kg, we are now down to 104 kilogram, right? That's a third of your body weight gone for good. And like I said, that's that. It's gone for good. And you know, like I said, you are still pushing yourself now to take that further, do you know, like I said, and I want to go back to that point there because I just mentioned about the family, and I know how it's changed their life and even like your granddaughter's life and stuff like that. Like, how much of an impact is you changing? What has that allowed you to do more of compared to what you never used to be able to do? Of course, I know that was walk your daughter to school. Yeah. But like, you've gained your life back, do you know what I mean? Like, compared to what you used to be able to do compared to now. Yeah. Like, what are you doing now that you never used to be able to do?
Well, I've got back on a bike last year, which I'm chuffed about. Yeah. I tootle around on my bike. Everyone says, "I saw you on your bike the other day." I mean, sometimes I don't go very far, and I'm not a lover of hills. I'm not a hill person really, and I live in there are hills by where I live. So, but I've got on the bike. I just enjoy life in itself, and I love it. You know, my kids are all quite outdoorsy. So I'm able to keep up with them now, and even like before he goes to work, before my son goes to work, I'll say to him the night before, I say, do you fancy a walk in the morning? We get up early and then we'll go out and go for a walk, and I'm keeping up with him, and you know, and I'm not out of breath. I'm talking while I'm walking, and I'm, you know, I've last year I started doing a workout every day at home, as you well know, and I haven't missed a day, not even Christmas Day. It was done. I did it. And I'm dead proud of myself for that. And it's only like a little workout thing between 20 minutes and half an hour, but I do it every day. And I feel fitter and fitter every day, if you know what I mean. Yeah. The conditions I've got, they're still there. I still have a lot of pain from them, don't get me wrong, and they really make me tired. But I find that like I go to bed and they're just, whereas like I couldn't sleep, I'm out for the count, do you know what I mean? And whereas before I'd lie in bed watching the telly, and then you'd have munchies and a bag of crisps, and you know, in bed it was that eating in bed. I don't eat in bed at all anymore, which I love. I love not eating in bed. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Some people say that's like though, right? Terrible habit. Yeah, and you know, habit. It's like I said, this process as well, and like obviously people may be familiar with, some people may not be, but like people have seen your journey over the last 21 months. But this hasn't just been a transformation in terms of physical. This is a life transformation. This is more than this, and it's a transformation as a coach I'll forever be proud of, because it's like straight away it's someone that's not just changed the visual look. As you know, we just had this chat about 15 minutes ago. Fat loss is more than just a number of a scale. Fat loss is more than just a visual image. You know, like I said, it's that hiding behind the mask, it's that picking up on your clothes, it's that affecting your family. There's so much more to it, you know, and it's like I said, there's so many people, so many mums, so many just people in just day-to-day life who are currently probably stuck in that same situation that you was in. Do you know what I mean? Battled it for years and years and years. I know, because I have conversations with those people every single day. Do you know what I mean? But we've seen how you change your life, and you've seen how you've put into that. But what I want to ask you is, what would you say was the hardest thing? That's an interesting question. What would you say the hardest thing about the process has been? But how has that sort of give you that reward at the end of it for the hard work that you've put in? There's been a few hard things, because I really, really struggled at first. I told you, didn't I, that I didn't want to do calorie deficit, because I thought it was just going to be like the biggest minefield. Like, I'm not going around shops flipping, looking at things, you know, trying to count it all up. And I thought it was going to be such a difficult process. But obviously there's apps and different things out there now that make it so easy. And there's that many people to follow on social media that have got, you know, tray bake ideas and things like that. Also, but for me, I think the mental side of it, a lot of it has been a big thing for me. Because like you said, I've got a big family, and I mean, I've got a small family, but I've got a lot of kids, if you know what I mean. So it makes us a big family all together. And they're older, and they all come with, they're much harder when they're older. And, you know, they've got their own life, you know, problems, and trying to just juggle all them, as well as trying to concentrate on yourself. And as a mum, you don't ever put yourself first. You're always last on the list, and, you know, if
anything, our biggest conversation.
It is. If anything's got to change, it's always me that has to change, if you know what I mean. And I try not to, so I have learned to get up earlier. Yeah. Because big change. Yeah, it does, and that makes a massive help. So getting up earlier and getting things done, because otherwise I'm, you know, still doing workouts at 11 o'clock at night in the kitchen, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, when am I going to do it?" You know. Yeah. So no, it does. But I think the mental side of it, but learning the process and falling in love with the process has been a big thing, and it does take time. People think that this is going to be like an instant fix. It's a forever thing. It's a forever thing, and I'll be forever grateful for learning a lot of the education that you brought on board with the whole program. Things and just being able to be in contact with you to ask you anything. I mean, you know, we've talked about for everything. I think I don't think there's anything you don't know about me.
I don't think there's anything.
Me venting it out. So. But yeah, the mental struggle has been hard because it has, like you say, over the last 12 months, it's been difficult. My mum was diagnosed with breast cancer and that's been difficult. So it's been emotional.
Yeah.
And that could have gone one or two ways, couldn't it? I could have just gone, oh, do you know what, stuff this. I haven't got time for this. But in a way, it's made me focus even more. If I'm honest.
Definitely.
Because I needed not to worry about this. I needed to be able to focus on what was going on with my mum. So the meal prepping I did before we went for chemos and everything, I had everything all in little boxes, you know, it was all there. So we had it all, it was everything. Everything was done. But if I hadn't have had that discipline or that process to follow, I'd have just sort of fallen off track and on the way to the hospital gone and got McDonald's and then gone to the canteen and the you know. So it was like, lots of little things like that, but even I've gone back to work. I'm working not for myself anymore, but I'm working for. I've got a job. I've had to have a couple of uniform downsizes, which is very good. As I was telling you before, they eat a lot in work. Yeah. They snack a lot in work, and we've got a lot of eateries at work, and we get discounts at work, and I don't use them.
It's habit change, though, right? Like I said, it happens all the time, and it's such a big thing, and. You know, like I said, looking into that, it's a process. You know, like you just said there, and I put a smile on my face when you fall in love with the process. And I spoke about this yesterday, and it's like, what if this journey was never about becoming anything? And I think I always say this, and makes people think again. But what if this process was never about becoming the person that you were supposed to be? What if it was about unbecoming who you were never supposed to be in the first place? And I always like to look at that like you were never supposed to be.
No, I don't think I was.
Do you know what I mean? You were never supposed to be that version of yourself, that Rachel that started, but the Rachel that you maybe always supposed to be is now this. I believe that. And the habits, that's what I mean. Sometimes it's a complete different outlook, and it's like, and this is why I always say you've regained back control of your life. And that's 110% what you've done, as you just explained, you know what I mean? And
well, if I look back at the photographs of myself when I was sort of finishing school, when I thought that I was big compared to my friends, I'm like, what's the waist on me there? I'm thinking, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? What was I seeing? Yeah. And this, you know, I think when Gemma said before that a lot of this we should be educated about it at school.
Definitely,
and I think
100%,
sometimes what we see in the mirror, I mean, funnily enough, even though I'm like over 100 miles away from where I was brought up, I work with a girl who was in the same year at school as me. And I'm this height and she's still there, tiny little. And it's just, that's just the way of the world. Do you know what I mean? It's just, we're all different sizes and shapes. And yeah, I don't think I was meant to be that person that I was. And I am the person that I was meant to be.
It really is interesting. Like, I think sometimes we speak so much about like, I'm becoming the best version of myself, I'm becoming this, but it's like, what if it's just not fucking about that anyway? What if it's actually about unbecoming the version of yourself that you were never supposed to be?
I think that resonates more with me.
It hits
home. Becoming what I
like,
shouldn't have been.
This journey and this process, you fell in love with it and you've experienced a hell of a lot. Life's changed a lot for yourself within that period of time, but this unraveling was the unraveling of the version of yourself that you were never supposed to be. And I honestly truly believe that. And it's something I stand by more than you're becoming something else, because that's what I mean. This is who, for example, you'll resonate with this, like for your entire life, as you mentioned there, worrying about being the bigger one from young or being the big girl of the group or whatever. What if that was never supposed to be you in the first place? And you know, like I said, we've now got ourselves to this full circle moment of this way you're supposed to be, and this the version of yourself that you're supposed to be as well. So it's actually pretty cool to look at that. But before we wrap up, anyone, I know we spoke about this before, but the amount of people who will be on the fence, mum's similar position, people similar position as yourself, if they're thinking about doing it, they're on the fence, just what would you say to them? What would your advice be? Because of course I can say it, but that's coming from me. But from someone that's been through the coaching process, someone that's changed their life through the coaching process, what would your advice be to them?
So just coming off the back of what you've said of unbecoming who you were supposed to be, if I'd have thought of it like that, I'm sorry that I didn't start it sooner. I'm sorry that I didn't come across you any sooner, but it was meant to be that I found you when I found you. But don't wait, don't leave any time in between. Don't keep on thinking about it, because you know what? We're already in April. It's April already in 2025. We've only just had Christmas. Do you know what? Before long, summer's going to be here and gone.
Christmas again.
But just think, by the time Christmas comes, or even by the time summer comes, you could have lost so much already and be starting to regain your life and where you're supposed to be. It's a game changer. It's a life changer. It's a great process to be in. I mean, you're amazing just to be that. Being able to just be in contact with you. There's never been like Mark's not got in touch, it's been 24 hours. It's like, if I need you, you're there. If you know you can't be, you'll tell me in advance that you can't be. If it's a busy day, or you'll say, I'll have to listen to it, because I'm always sending voice notes.
Me too.
I'll get back to this voice note, and I'm like, yeah, it's not fine. Sometimes, I've needed to get things off my chest, so it's out there, it's done, I can deal with it once I've said it.
Definitely.
But yeah, don't wait. It's just, like Gemma said, have the conversation. Speak to Mark in person, send you the message. You're not going to
have a chin wag.
Have a chin wag, yeah. But no, don't leave it. Even if you don't decide to go with you, it's worth having the conversation, because it's...
You put your front foot forward, that's
and it's making that step. Having the conversation with you always makes people ease, and then they're able to take that second step. And I remember our first conversation, you said to me, I will hold your hand the whole way, and you have done. And so that first step, all I had to do was that. And then the rest of them we've done together, because, even in the mornings when it's early in the morning, I'll think I'll take a shot for the group. I'll say I'm out doing my steps. Maybe it'll encourage somebody else. But you know what? It's a momentum. We keep it going. And you know what? Don't be the person, or don't be the thing that holds yourself back. Just make that call, or send a message. Just even if it's like, I need help, on your Instagram.
Simple.
Say, I need help. You're going to respond to that. And it's like, even if that's all you can say, that's it. That's all you have to do.
100%. But
definitely.
Honestly, I just want to say I'm proud of you. Super proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of me.
And you should be. But no, like I said, this been a life-changing 21 months, and we've still got a couple of months left.
Yeah, I've got. You know where I want to be.
We know where you want to be, and we have once we get to there, we'll wrap that up, and we'll definitely sort of pass it close to the time. But no, like I said, Rach, thank you so much for putting your trust in me as a coach. I always want to say that, but like I said, I'm super proud of you as well.
Oh, thank you.
That's us wrapped up as well. Yeah. Well done.